Max Brantley of the Arkansas Times on Monday, February 27th. Let's call this the Election Have Consequences edition. Donald Trump met the press today for a time. He said he's prepared to increase military and security spending in the United States by $54 billion. He'll do that by reducing spending in other agencies. No word yet just exactly who will feel the budget knife. There'll certainly be some pushback on that. His new EPA director says he's going to stop enforcement action on a coal cleanup plan. His attorney general says after 6 years of contending that Texas is trying to discourage minority people from voting with its voter ID law, it's no longer going to pursue that argument. And Donald Trump himself said he'll soon have a plan to replace Obamacare, and not to worry, it'll be much, much better. He said, you know, nobody knew this, but it turns out health care is a very complicated thing. Well, some people did know that. Back in Little Rock at the state capitol, the legislature resumes meeting this afternoon. After we started taping, they're going to be talking about a multitude of bills to make the Freedom of Information law less open to the public and protect some government records. They're also going to talk about wine sales in grocery stores. Governor Asa Hutchinson today set execution dates for 8 death row inmates. This doesn't begin to be the end of this. There's a question about whether the state has a fresh supply of 2 of the 3 drugs that are needed. There's also a new court appeal that's been filed. The Episcopal Diocese of Arkansas announced today that it opposes the bill to require colleges to allow people to carry concealed weapons on campus. Whether that'll have any effect on the legislature, I think probably not. Mark Stodela talked about the legislature a little bit today. He's the mayor of Little Rock. He says, why does the legislature insist on taking away local control from the cities when it talks about local control in other contexts? He's talking about, among others, the bill to rename the Little Rock Airport, the bills that stop local cities from endorsing ordinances that protect same-sex people from discrimination, and also legislation that would take control of school buildings away from the local school district. Good for mayor on that. Friday night, a Little Rock police officer fatally shot a man who she says tried to rob him while she was working off duty at a state revenue office. She apparently was carrying money bags in the car. There's still a lot of details about this case we don't know. The police have been very slow to release details. In another crime case, early this morning, a store clerk at a Shell Superstop on Interstate 30 was robbed and then shot in the leg by a robber. The police did apprehend the robber and a colleague. Sometime later, the man who was arrested in the robbery is said to be a Saudi Arabian citizen, not one of those on the list who are banned from coming to the country. The Helena, West Helena continues to make political news. The police chief there arrested 2 members of the city council for failure to pay their water bills over a long period of time. He didn't charge them with that. He charged them with public office abuse. He says anybody else would have had their water cut off if they'd tried to do what the city council did. On the resistance front, hundreds of people turned out Sunday in Little Rock for a missing persons town hall. That is, John Bozeman, Tom Cotton, and French Hill were invited to appear and answer questions. None of them did. They offered lame excuses for doing so. Can this fervor be kept up? Hard to say. A friend of mine went to the Arkansas Symphony Sunday, and before the symphony played the Mahler symphony that was on the program, people in the orchestra and the conductor talked about current affairs. They talked about the diversity of the people in their group, including sexual diversity, foreign ethnicity, diversity, and that sort of thing. And then it was a good thing. And they also talked about concerns about whether the National Endowment for the Arts, a major source of support for the symphony, would continue under the Trump administration. With the budget cuts that are likely because of what he announced today, that may be a good question to ask. Also, there needs to be a little bit of humor in the resistance movement, I notice, and Change.org, the online petition outfit, has a petition that has now more than 2,000 names calling for naming something after Jason Rapert, the senator from Conway who wants to take the Clinton's name off Little Rock Airport. They suggest naming a sewage treatment tank in Conway after Senator Jason Rapert in honor of the quality of his work to date. And finally, Republicans are feeling the itch, I think, a little bit from the Democrats' protests around the country. They say they're going to have marches around the country Saturday to show support for Donald Trump. One of them is going to be in Hot Springs. Well, that's the American way. Let's all speak up and be counted. I'm Max Brantley. I'll be back tomorrow. Keep resisting.